Here's a video on how to do percentage practice problems. So in the last two videos where we worked on finding percentages without a calculator, there was a part 1 and a part 2. The main gist I want you to get from those videos is that when it comes to finding percentages, the main percentages that you should know is how to find 1% of something, 5%, 10%, 25%, 50%, 75%, and 100%. These are the percentages I want you to have memorized. And we're going to do just a practice problem with finding each of these percentages for the number 200. So we'll start with 1%. We have 200. And we are just going to move that decimal over a total of 2 times to the left. And that will give us the number 2. So 2 is 1% of 200. Easy enough. Let's do 5% next. And remember, we said 5% is half of whatever 10% is. So let's actually work on 10% first. I think that will be easier. So we have 200. And we are going to move that decimal over to the left and do it 1 time, and that will give us 20. So 20 is 10% of 200. So if 20 is 10%, then 5% is going to be half of that. So 20 divided by 2 is equal to 10, which is equal to 5% of 200. Okay, that looks great. And let's do 25 next. So remember, to find 25% of something, we are going to just divide the number by 4. So we're just going to do 200 divided by 4, and that is going to be 50. And 50 is 25% of 200. Awesome. And how about 50? When we're trying to find 50% of something, we have to divide by 2. So now we're going to do 200 divided by 2 is 100, which is 50% of 200. And 50% should also be twice as much as whatever 25% is. In this case, 25 is 50, and 50% is 100, which is twice as much. So that checks out. And let's do 75 next. So remember, with 75, we have to do 200 times 3 over 4. That should give us 600 over 4. That should be 150. 600 divided by 4 is 150. So 150 is 75% of 200. And last one, 100%. And anytime we need to find 100% of something, we just times the number by 1. So 200 times 1 is 200, which is 100% of 200. So that's a very good problem to start off with, I think. But let's start working with some other problems. So let's start off with, we want to find 60% of, and I'm going to keep it at 200, I think. Why not? 60% of 200, just to keep things simple. So 60% is not in our list of percentages we have memorized, but that's okay. We can figure it out. So we know that in order to get 60%, we have to do 50% plus 10%, and that's going to give us 60%. Well, we know what 50% is, right? 50% is 100. We know what 10% is. 10% is 20. So let's just add that all together. We get 120 is 60% of 200. See how easy that makes things? It's really simple when you think about it. It's not so bad. Let's do 80 next. Let's do 80% of 200. And we have, let's see, out of these percentages, which numbers can we add up to get 80%? We can do 75% and we can do 5%, right? That adds up. So 75% is 150. 5% is 10. We get 160 is 80% of 200. Let's do another problem here. And I'm back. Let's do 126% of 200, of course. Now, what can we add up to equal that? Well, we can do 100%, right? You know, we're going to do 100% plus, let's do 25%. And let's do 1%. %, 200 is 200, as we've already established. 25% of 200 is 50. And 1% of 200 is 2. So that is 352. 352 is 126% of 200. Oh, you know what? I just realized I messed up. Oops. I don't know why I put 250. I was like, wait a minute, this number is way too large. This should only be 50. So it should be 252. Sorry about that. And let's do one more example problem. Let's do 290% of 200. Now, so far, we've just been adding all the percentages together. So we could do 100% plus 100%, and then just do 10% 9 times, right, to get 90. It's 10%, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But that is a very long equation. And if we can make the equation as short as possible, that's definitely the way we want to go. So what I would recommend doing is this. I would do 100% plus 100% plus 90%. But instead of doing 10% plus 10%, you know, going on until you have 9% to make up 90, you can do this. 100% minus 10% is also 90, right? So then you get the full equation. And that looks much easier to do than this longer equation. So you just want to make things as short as possible. That's the goal. Work smarter, not harder. So we know 100% of 200 is 200. 200 plus 200 plus 200 minus 10% of 200, which is 20. We'll get 600 minus 20 is 580. So 580 is 290. 290% of 200. And there you have it. Here are some example problems for you.